And you really do have to research the hell out of it.
So who has to do the research?
Well, we're paying town council to do that.
Oh, you guys, okay.
Yeah. And then once we can foreclose on it, land court will deed it. There's a
Right.
year of right of redemption.
Yeah.
But typically, if, in this case, they wouldn't wait the year to sell it. And it would go to public auction to highest bidder.
Oh. So it's not like since he lives next door, he wouldn't have the first right to purchase.
No, but the treasurer will reach out to abutters
Yeah.
to get interest going in the auction.
Okay. Cool. All right. Well, we have a quorum. I'd like to call the Lakeville Master Plan Implementation Committee to order. Is anybody recording this meeting? Lake Camp, thank you very much. So we have a full agenda tonight to begin with. We were supposed to meet with Jed Cornock from Serped, but there was a last-minute change. He was unable to make the meeting, but he did send a pretty detailed email about what he wanted to speak with. So everyone got the email? Mm-hmm. All right. So we can read it if you'd like. We'll start with the, let's see, with his updates. He's got multiple updates. Okay. So he says that update number 1 was a table event at Ted Williams Camp. He set up a table next to the MMA studio.
If I can just say one
Sure.
thing too. If you go according to the agenda.
Yep. I can do
The
that.
committee held off on voting to approve this draft summary report.
Oh, okay. Then
So you wanna
take a
do
step
that?
back. Yeah, we can do that, actually. So we were supposed to meet with Jed. We were unable to. And according to the agenda, so there are multiple items. First one was vote to approve the summary report for the Natural and Cultural Resources and Open Space and Recreation Workshop held on March 16th.
Yeah, we had these.
2019.
And we reviewed the whole thing with him
Yeah.
last week.
Correct.
You need a motion to approve the summary report for the Natural Cultural Resources in the Open Space and Recreation Workshop held on March 16th, 2019.
Second. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, all opposed? Okay, thank you. Is approved unanimously. Now we can switch gears to the update. All right, so the second agenda item is the update on the table event held at Ted Williams Camp on May 19th. So Serped had set up a table at the MMA studio at 8:30, Jed in particular, and he stayed until around 11:30. He said it was a good spot because people were continually passing by to get to the baseball fields, and other areas. He handed out a bunch of brochures, and he promoted the June 1st workshop. No one provided any written comments, but some asked questions about the process and who Serped was. Overall, he thinks it went well. He did leave a little early because it was in between events, and then the wind started picking up, so it made it very difficult for him to manage the table materials. Agenda item C, the public workshop for services in facilities and transportation and circulation scheduled for June 1st of 2019. Serped is still preparing for the June 1st workshop. As he's mentioned in the past, the event will be very similar to the previous workshop. Serped will have a presentation at the beginning and then a tabletop mapping exercise focused on transportation and circulation. They're calling it Issues and Opportunities exercise. They'll have 5 stickers to include bicyclist, pedestrian, bus, car, and truck. For the folks to mark the town map where there might be issues or opportunities for biking and for walking, for bus service, for vehicle issues, or even some traffic problems. Similar to the last workshop, Serped will ask volunteers from each group to mark the map with a sticker, document a particular issue or opportunity, and to report the findings back to the larger group. He plans to set up for the event the day before, purchase refreshments, and arrive early. Agenda item D, discuss the dates for the October public workshop. So as discussed prior, it would be best if the October public workshop could be held at the elementary school. We'll leave it up to our committee to decide if it will be a weekday or a weekend event. So I'll stop right there.
Okay, if you go to the second page, I had Lorraine follow up with the principal at Assawamsett.
Awesome.
And I asked her to get, to look around in October on a Saturday, and then were there some good evening nights, because I think we left it up in the air whether or not we wanted to have it on a Saturday or a weeknight.
Correct.
So here's some options that you could,
Okay. So Saturday, October 19th during the day, Tuesday the 22nd in the evening, Wednesday the 23rd in the evening, Tuesday the 29th in the evening, or Wednesday the 30th in the evening.
I didn't think the Saturday before is Columbus Day weekend, and I didn't think there'd be a good turnout.
No.
So,
Correct. So do we feel, so one day, obviously, the Saturday was the only day
And what's-
option.
What was this workshop again?
it's the
That
final
is the final
open house, the big one,
The
big one.
yeah.
and we'll hold it in the gymnasium.
Yes. I think that would be the best. Hopefully we can garner enough interest in the workshop, and then kind of the culmination of all the work that we've done over the years, and hopefully have a pretty good event.
I wonder, with that being said, if Saturday's a better day, just for the opportunity to get, hopefully, a turnout for people. Although you're always running into sports and stuff, but I'm assuming
Right.
at night you have either people coming home from work or meetings or.
Yeah,
what have you.
I would agree with that, because it kind of puts us in rush mode to, to get home from work after the commute and to get everyone settled, and then to make the opportunity to get over to the school. What are your thoughts?
Saturday is, it sounds good, but, a Saturday on the weekend in the end of October towards the holiday, it just doesn't, I don't feel comfortable saying that we'd get a large group of people.
This isn't the holiday.
No, this
weekend.
isn't the holiday.
It's the holiday week.
Yeah, it's a little early this year,
Right.
Columbus Day.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's the following weekend.
Right,
That's how I felt, that people wouldn't want to go on that holiday,
right.
the long weekend. So
Mhm.
we asked if the next Saturday was available.
Yeah.
Do you want to go earlier in October and see?
Will we be prepared is the question. I want to make sure that we have everything perfect to roll out at the finale. Do we want to table that, or do we want to?
The only thing is, I'm thinking if you're getting into earlier in October, so you're talking you wouldn't do the weekend before, so you're talking the first weekend in October,
Which is the
or
5th.
going into September. I mean, you're in the last throes of nice weather. I wonder if that would cut out.
What do you think if at the workshop on June 1st, you got a consensus of the people attending? Would they rather do a Saturday than a weeknight? Or
That
Good
might be
question.
good.
That's a great question.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that question,
Yeah,
which makes it an even greater question.
that makes it, yeah, that sounds like a question to be
And
asked.
we have the annual town meeting coming up.
yeah, June 3rd?
I wonder if we could, and they're going to be there, correct, for the table event at the.
No.
They're not going to get that
No
one.
more table.
That's right. That was his last
Yeah.
one.
Is there some way to get the question asked at town meeting, though?
Oh,
The chairman we can ask the moderator,
but
if he could just ask the question and
Ask.
get a quick raise.
Yeah.
You think? We have a new
I mean, I don't
moderator
know.
this year.
Well, you got is it June 1st is the other meeting, right?
Right.
You're gonna ask it there, you know. would you
Absolutely going to
prefer,
ask it there.
You know.
And then
our
2
next
days
meeting,
later-
right. And then at the town meeting,
We need to
hopefully
make
the chair would say, look, there's a meeting coming up, the open planning, it's very important to people. I'm scheduling it for, you know, first or second Saturday or third Saturday in October. I want to remind you it's to your benefit to come. And, you know,
Happy to do it,
push it, yeah.
Yeah.
Push it somewhere that way.
if allowed. I would.
Yeah, I would ask the
feel-
moderator if,
Okay.
yeah, we gave a push it for the workshop at town meeting. Gave it to Gordon Goodfellow.
I was going to say, I don't know, is there an article usually for reports from boards and committees? No.
So I need to type it up and present it in advance.
Let me ask the moderator.
Okay.
And they may not like doing it, but it's a good issue for the town.
Yeah,
And,
Yeah, and now's the time to ask, right?
or even if you have something typed up, have her ask the question.
Yeah.
Maybe in between the special and the annual.
We can do that.
And going back to the June 1st workshop, I cannot use the sign.
It's okay,
It's town meeting is up there now.
not a problem.
Yeah. But we'll plaster
Take
it on the
advantage of it
website.
whenever we can.
Yeah.
Okay. So we agree to ask definitely at the workshop on the
Right.
1st,
Yeah.
and then potentially on the 3rd during the special and the annual town meeting.
Yeah, if they will. I mean, even if you don't ask the question, you just sit there and say, look, we're planning on.
Yeah,
Hope everybody is-
Now, if it's
At the
not
special,
allowed, which I don't, I can't speak to, but
Right.
how appropriate is it for me as the chair to work the crowd as they're
Walking
coming in? Is that allowed?
In the outside lobby, I would say
Yep,
yes.
not inside, in the
Yep.
outside lobby. Yeah, I'm happy to do that too. What?
But the issue that may come up at the special town meeting is that there are very few articles in the special one, but one of them, definitely applies with marijuana, and marijuana is one of the topics that isn't necessarily on the agenda. I don't think people want it on the agenda, but some people would love to get it onto the agenda, and it would it's going to spoil the meeting if that gets onto if we spend a lot of time at that. That's just that's in the way. I don't know how that'll go.
We'll take it
We
under
need to
consideration. If
get
it
one
happens,
on
you're
the
just gonna.
agenda.
If
Stay
people
focused.
start thinking about the marijuana issue as we're doing an annual budget.
I'm sure.
So maybe
I see
do
the
it-
two tied together.
I think you're better off staying away from the issue if you can. I think the meeting will go better if we don't get sidetracked into whether marijuana is a good or a bad idea in Lakeville.
But that's not,
So
we're not,
That's not
we're
part
not
of the
drawing
master
that
plan,
up.
though.
Pardon?
We're not drawing that up.
Well,
Right.
if
So you just think people will be less receptive to me talking to them? You mean? If
how
they're-
you can have a master plan and not include things like gambling and marijuana in it is something interesting to me. I mean,
Well, but
Well,
that would be,
what are we
people would
talking
need
about?
to come to the
You know,
workshop
that's
or
right. I mean,
something.
the
that's
most
something-
important things
Yeah,
that
so-
happen to us are the things that we're supposed to be talking about.
But for this, is if the moderator has the power at a town meeting to just say, this is a yes or no, this is not a debate question, just if
Raise
she
your hand.
allows.
Yeah, and maybe
you
right
prefer
at the
to
very
meet?
start, just,
Yeah.
It's
But that's up to the moderator to, I mean, she has the power
So
to,
you would
No, I-
believe people are gonna
I'm
bring up?
just suggesting or not that we avoid talking about master plans during a town meeting.
So
Well-
you would believe that people, if we said we're having a master plan meeting, would bring up the issue of marijuana to be talked at?
No, I wouldn't bring up the issue of marijuana.
No, I said, do you believe people would bring up the issue of marijuana? If we said we are going to have I'm trying to get a picture of what your concern is, because I don't understand your concern. Okay. If we bring up saying there is going to be a meeting on such and such a date, we'd like everybody to attend. People want to talk about marijuana or gambling, let them come to the meeting. Let them show up or shut up. Pardon my French.
At a town meeting?
No,
I don't think so.
at our meeting.
They're talking about our meeting for the, I guess,
Well, I'm talking about our meeting, not theirs. I mean, this,
At our meeting, yeah, that would be a fine
Yeah.
place to
That-
talk.
that's a great
about stuff
place.
like that. But town meeting isn't.
No.
So I wouldn't want to introduce that sort of issue.
so I guess I'm not understanding either, but what I would say is this: if we're on point and we're not getting into the weeds or the details of the master plan per se, rather we're asking somebody, would you like to attend this final event for unveiling the master plan?
No, I just think what the question I was planning was the master plan committee's holding their the open house,
Yeah.
and they'd just like to know: do you prefer to go on a night or on a Saturday?
Yeah.
Period.
That's
That's
it.
it. Yeah, that's
And
all I
show of
say.
hands.
And the
Just
open,
keep it at that.
I would have a very brief, the open house is the final public input session
Yeah.
or
yeah,
whatever.
and
Yeah, that's all I
the
see it
moderator,
as.
town moderator can sit there and say, okay, you've had your piece,
Yeah.
if you got something to say about that, go talk to them.
And because what we don't want to do, obviously, is to
get involved with-
get down that rabbit hole. It's our committee is the implementation committee. We're here to implement the master plan. The master plan has the components that have been given to us that we're going to have together in one cohesive display. All we're asking them to do is very simple. We're having this final. What day do you prefer?
And I picture the town moderator handing her a script
Right.
and have her ask the
I mean, that's
question.
why-
Yeah.
She may or may
Routine.
not.
Yeah.
I mean, it has to be invited anyways because it's not on the agenda.
Yeah.
Correct,
Or
and
the
if the
warrant, so-
moderator doesn't feel comfortable asking the
Yeah.
question, and the moderator, as the chair that wants me to, I'm happy to do it. Because we should be able to articulate what it is that we want, and not have, and not deviate, I should say, not deviate from that. We're asking a simple question. This is the question that we're posing,
Yeah.
and by show of hands or voice or whatever, however they want to do it, and then we move forward. So, but I hear your concerns. I understand what you're saying. We should be able to articulate if that does come up. I would suspect it would not, but if it does, our job is to implement the master plan. That's this.
Well, our job right now is to create the master plan.
Right.
Create and implement.
Right, but
Create and
I
implement.
think that's the point. I mean, if people,
Yeah,
if
we're not-
people seriously believe that this is an issue that should be addressed by this group, they ought to be in front of the group.
Right.
I think under the economic section, because we do have 6 host community agreements right now with a temporary freeze on any new ones. That there has to be-
We have 8. We have at least 8 agreements that we've agreed to.
Okay?
The 6 plus 2 more. So it's not a small.
Well,
It's
some
not a small
are
amount.
are dual, but
No,
the-
not those. The newest ones.
but
There's 8.
that we need a section about, in the economic part, about the marijuana facilities.
I don't disagree.
But by the time
It's-
we publish it, though, we're not going to know too much. But down the road, that we have several facilities in the industrial park and in the industrial park on 44 and Great Ponds.
And then in the future, when it's time to,
Yeah.
like we're doing now, revisiting it and updating it, modifying it, then that'll be the time to do that work. So, okay. So we all agree, at least conceptually, it's going to be a simple question about
Whether it's a
Availability.
weekend, whether it's a
Schedule.
weekend or an
schedule.
Scheduling
Oh,
issue.
okay,
weekend or evening.
Right.
all right, that works for me.
I would hope that somebody who's watching this would suddenly begin to say, hey, wait a minute. why don't we go to the committee and ask them?
Sure. The folks at home would absolutely welcome that, so,
Right.
yeah, just contact us and be happy to get you on the agenda. All right, well, fair enough. All right, so the next item is discuss the maps to be included in the updated plan. So the maps for the master plan document, Serpent has asked if we were to supply the maps that we would like included in the final document, that they'll make sure to have them in the document.
Did you read that?
Summarize right now. If you supply us the list of maps
The
that you
list
would
of
like,
maps, okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
that you would like included in the final document, we'll make sure to have them in there. Sounded like the preferred size is 11 by 17, and he can bring an example at the next meeting. Unfortunately, this wasn't, so we have some here. We did discuss these at the last meeting. It did sound like the 11 by 17 was the preferred size. So the question,
Which maps we want?
which maps do we want?
Yeah.
And I know there was some discussion last time about the maps that we wanted included. So how many maps, I would start off by asking the question, how many maps are in the original? You said you had them marked, correct?
I see 13.
Okay,
I could be wrong.
Counting those tabs at the end too?
I counted these. yes.
Okay.
okay.
Well, land use for sure we want.
But just, let me do it. We have right now, in the old one, we have 3 land use maps. One of them 1971, one of them 1985, and one of them 1999. Besides that, they're identical. It's the same Lakeville and it's the same perimeter. I don't believe that we need 3 of them. This was interesting in 2003 to show how things changed, but it's very interesting to us. It's not really interesting to anybody else at all, and a waste of paper. It also shows that things go pretty slow. As far as this planning stuff goes, or something like that. This is 1971. You know, half of your audience will not have been born yet.
Right.
And it's not, and Lakeville hasn't really changed from 20,000 feet at all. Hasn't changed a lot at all.
I would say differently in that I agree we don't need, I'd almost say you don't need the 71 one, but I think it's important to show the changes, whether they be a lot or a little or what have you. But one of the comments that comes up a lot is you hear from people is how Lakeville has changed, how Lakeville is not the town that I grew up in. And I think if you can show the 3.
What it is that's not true.
Well, but it may be true or not, but that's what people say.
Okay.
So I agree. I don't think you need the 71. You don't need to have 4 or 5, but I think you need to see the change
say about
there.
planning. Having and all these ideas about where all the children are going to fill up the schools and all these sort of ideas and all the traffic and all that crap, most of it is false.
Well, but it's what people are saying, and you still have to work towards your audience, and if you're able to show them the master
I
plan.
would rather educate the audience.
I'm sorry. But I would look at 1999 as being 20 years past.
Right.
That's the picture of where we were 20 years ago,
right.
okay? We don't have a picture of where we are now, but we're,
Is 99 the most recent land use?
It's the most recent one in this particular thing. Now,
if you had 99, you had 2015, I said that was a whole different issue. I'd put both of them in there.
I'd like
Right.
to. Can we adjourn for 5 minutes?
No,
I prefer not to.
can't.
So we can table it. We can put it in the parking lot for future future
Now, the
discussion.
thing,
What
one
is
of the
your
things that bothers,
concern?
my concern is buying the copyright. We have all of the maps. I think that we aren't creating. We're just creating a list of maps. Serpent will be creating the map for us, even though we will know exactly what's on it. I don't want to buy these 3 maps.
Understood.
Of old ones, because this is something that we would never ask Serpent to create this. The best thing they would do is just copy it right off of there. And all the work that went into doing this is, gets published. Now, I know you'd like to publish it to show some people some stuff, and the information's already here, but we don't own it.
Well,
What do you
I
think of
just
that?
think when you have to.
You know about this stuff better than anybody.
Well, but the thing with this is with the master plan, you're looking forward, but you look forward by also looking at your past. And I don't say we need to have all of them in, but I think you do need to see where has Lakeville come. Maybe it is just the 99 one and you have your current zoning and what in the future, but I think you have to have something
Well, you have to
to
have a
compare
land.
back.
I think you have to have a land use map.
Right,
You have to have one, but it should be 2019.
right.
Yeah, well, yeah,
It
you
should be
need
the
a current
current
one,
one.
but you
But
need
who's-
But that would mean
You need a
that-
historical
you need
one
the
and you
historical
That means we
background
have
too.
4 of them.
Yeah, but you're not going to
Right,
put 4 of them in
We're
there.
not gonna put 4 in the new one, that we're gonna release.
If you had
At least I don't
2000,
believe,
if
I
you had
don't want to speak, but I
1999 and
don't think we're gonna do 4,
2019,
correct?
that's all you need.
But
So
there's
you-
gonna be a cost
Do you
to,
want
understand.
1999
Draw it
and
up for the new.
2019?
Sorry?
Do you want, I'm not going to argue with
No,
you.
I understand what you're
If you want
saying,
1999 and 2019, just say it, and
but I mean, that's what I
We'll
would
do it.
look at and say, just to discuss, so it comes up, just to discuss, this is where we were, this is what we have today.
And this
That's
is
as
where
a
we're going.
result of growth. This
I think-
plan is developed into how we're gonna grow the town. So I wouldn't, I would look at those two.
Yeah, because in my
As
head too,
measures.
the last time we updated this was what, 15 years ago,
Right.
right?
that's exactly right.
Yeah, so we have a 15-year, 15-year.
2005.
Yeah, so 2005, so we have the historical.
Right.
So if we could show from the last master plan,
That-
as close to 2015 as possible, or like you said, maybe go back to 1999 and have one for 2019, or,
We don't have a land
But how
use
did they-
2005.
right, how do we update this? That's gonna take a lot of time,
It is.
and
It is.
I don't know if that's in our contract with,
I don't think it
know.
is, and this is what I would say then.
I can work on it. I can do it. But I have to get a blank, and it's actually pretty easy to do.
okay.
But
But it addresses
I mean,
his
especially-
question.
I'm not
People say,
gonna-
this is, where are we, where we were.
there's a
where
bunch
we-
more
yeah.
here that someone else is going to have to do. I mean, for
Yeah.
instance, I'm already signing you up for a great deal more because there's difficult ones back here to do. The open space ones are much more difficult to do than the land use, for instance.
So what I would say, I think in the interest of time, and kind of like stay on point, instead of getting into, kind of getting into the weeds a little bit. What do we have? What do we need? Right? So I like everyone's suggestion. We need to do a historical. We need to do as current as possible. Right? If this is what we have, it's not in the contract to have a new one created.
Oh, I don't know.
Well, I'm saying we can confirm
We
that.
have
Yeah.
we have it in the contract to
Do some maps.
a current land use map is
Right.
definitely in the contract.
Okay.
Okay,
That's a
then-
basis.
All right,
I
then
mean,
I stand
this
corrected,
sheet-
so it's there. So then the question is, can it be created in time for the master plan? And we could use one of these 3 historical maps to show the growth.
Well, I'm not
Again,
understanding, why are we
only-
recreating when
only
can
if
they
it-
not make a copy of the map that we
Right.
have?
Only if it fits into his, the map is one thing. The people aren't going to be reading the map by itself. It has to fit into what Jed is writing. If there's some important point that he's making about how quickly or how slowly things are changing in
It's a
Lakeville,
visual effect.
then you can give him the visual along with it. I think you'd have to ask Jed whether whether this is going to lead
Yeah, they're gonna
into
keep
that.
referring to the
Yeah.
older maps.
So I'm-
So let's just do the maps and just say
To me,
what
it's
one
a
we
visual.
want.
You look at the land use, you look at it where it is now, and then, they're not gonna, I'm not sure, I don't know. I'm not gonna study the map per se. I'm gonna look more at what the written word has got to say.
Correct. So you can look to the visual, especially that it's color coded, and get that visual impact pretty fast.
right.
Yeah, you'd be like, wow, this is a significant change, and then look at the details. And I think for me personally, and being on this committee as long as we have, I don't know that I would sit there and study it as much as what I think someone would. I don't know. I personally.
I do a lot.
Yeah.
I happen to like them.
Yeah.
No,
the
right.
average-
Well,
I
that's
mean,
what
I
I'm saying.
really
So
like
I'm-
The average person's
But-
not gonna do it. The people who are gonna study it are the developers and the contractors.
you hit
and the
the nail
people
on the
who
head.
wanna come into town
Yep.
and start looking at opportunities and where the land is.
Yeah, and so for the majority of the citizens of Lakeville, again, the master plan is to give them, I believe in brevity, I believe in just, bullet points, give them the detailed information. Again, for those that this is made for, I would say maybe 2 maps, do a historical, I'm talking land use in particular, 2 with the historical one and then the most recent one. And if we can find out if Serpent, if it's in the contract, they can create it in time, or if Zink can do it, I think that's just my one man's opinion.
Yep, I agree.
I mean, what is the committee, what do you guys feel?
This particular one is easy for me because I had a lot to do with doing the zoning one. And the zoning one is about the same as this one.
Okay.
So it's doing 2 for the price of it. And I know I have to do, that there's a zoning map that I
Yeah, and the zoning's all updated already, so there's
Yeah.
no cost to
Yeah,
that.
Right.
and
There you
it
go.
and it
Yeah.
took us years to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
But that just leads right into the land use. So I
Okay.
happen to be familiar with that one.
Perfect. So does that sound okay to allow
Okay for
Zink
me.
to?
One, okay, just for your visuals, these are 15 years apart, too, 1999, 1985. This was a very big, there was a lot of changes in Lakeville back then. There was a lot more building going on in the 90s here than there were in...
The train station came in '97.
So, and it doesn't visually, it doesn't impress you. That is what my point is. This doesn't show much of anything.
Well, if someone knew what yellow was, you can look at that. And
Well, I think
and that
for
second
sure
one,
it
there's
does.
a lot more
I
yellow.
disagree.
It does.
I
Absolutely
disagree.
does.
Look at this.
You can
Okay.
see the
Look
cluster.
at the residential growth.
Yeah. So yellow's residential.
Yep.
Yes.
All right.
Look
So I'm
at
not
the
sure if the
difference.
folks at home can see
Yes.
this or not, but
By the school.
there's a pretty significant difference in in the 2 maps with what's yellow in the residential. So, I mean, right there's a perfect example of what we're trying to articulate. Here's a visual cue. It's 2
Okay,
seconds. Wow,
if
this
you
is
see it,
huge.
good.
Absolutely can
Okay.
see that.
Oh, yeah.
And you see even the
There's no
change with
question.
the open versus not open as far as the
Yeah.
visual, the open and urban open.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I said the visual effect of that, showing the difference between 15 years ago and now, is going to be important to people.
Yeah.
Okay,
Absolutely.
so would you rather see 1980, would you rather have this as a historical or 1999?
I think you need the
Because
99 one.
99
That's the
to
most
today.
recent one you
Right.
have.
99 to today.
99, okay.
Yes, please.
So
Yeah.
use this one.
Okay.
And if it doesn't cost
And
much
this
to
will
print it on.
delete.
But that's
Put
right,
all of
but people are
Well,
going to
if you-
see that this town has grown.
Right.
Well,
They don't.
these don't, because someone's already done all the work. and
Yeah.
We're
Right.
going to,
Yeah.
we're going to, what, buy it from them or just steal it?
Do we own
We'll
that
figure it
map?
out. We'll figure it
No.
out.
We just have to find out
Yeah.
the right, who owns the rights to that, which can be
Yeah.
reproduced. There's a reproduction cost or whatever, just.
Oh, then it's
It
not.
was Dayla Consulting, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah.
They were
Yeah.
the first.
Yeah, they did.
Okay.
They did
the
our
work.
first one.
They did the work
Okay.
for us, but it's okay.
So moving
The zoning
forward.
map, we will have an updated one
Right.
using, as far as I can see, the same format, same key. The colors changed slightly
Yep.
because we've switched over to the international standard of
Right.
business.
It's going to show,
Industrial
yeah,
thing.
and it's going to show the changes that have occurred in
Yeah.
the zoning, especially around Route 18.
Yeah,
Right.
This will turn
I
into
noticed
pink
more-
instead of
More and
orange.
more little signs saying sold or for sale on 18.
Yeah, there is.
Boy, did they sell a lot of them this last month.
Yeah, that's your ass.
My.
Pardon my French.
Yeah. All right,
Okay.
next
I
one.
can-
That takes care of,
So land use and zoning.
Yep.
okay. We have to, I believe, number 2.4 is we have to wait for JED. Because this developable land, the planners have different ways of figuring out what developable land is.
Yeah.
And we have to let him, is he going to make a full point of it? And what does he think about?
That's a good point. That's right.
What
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is
zones
the
are.
one that I'm interested
This
in.
is
I've
him
asked
completely.
this ad nauseum about
Yeah.
what's available to develop, and if we developed everything, then what would the population increase to? So this one is of particular importance. to me.
And this particular one, this company you would have liked because they did a very thorough. Made a very thorough argument of it, but on the other hand, the explanation at the end of it is that there's a great deal of land to develop and a great deal more people coming, which is not really true. It doesn't turn out that way.
Right.
Those people didn't come in the last 15 years that they thought were going to. Things go much slower than what this going
Right.
through this exercise.
Right.
So maybe even 50 years slower. So,
Okay.
but anyway, that's a JED.
Yep.
Yep.
All right.
That's a JED argument.
Next,
And I'll mark it as 2.4 as a JED.
Okay. So he said there's 13 maps total.
I just counted little pink slips.
Yeah, that's okay. We'll let's go through all of them first, and then we can pare it down and
Yeah.
figure out exactly what we need or want.
Okay, surface water resources is a very simple map, but very important, very much have to have it, because this gives you, and the developers, and all the conservation people, and actually, and everybody.
Recreation people.
Zone A, Zone B, Zone C. There are different rules for how close you get to the
Sure.
water.
Okay.
And they are ironclad, and they have to be.
Yep.
And they have to
Okay,
be
so
followed.
surface water resources
And
map.
this is, yes. And now, at 5.1, while we're on the topic, and I talked to Nate about this, and I've talked to you folks about this, is that I wanted to add, and it's not a complicated thing, and I have the drawing from Doug Mills, who was a past fire chief who was very interested in expanding the water system here in Lakeville, of where the public water pipes lay.
Sure.
And
great.
we have that, and we do that. And at Nate's behest, or we have 3 electric companies in town. Very small parts of it near New Bedford are I forget their name. Taunton has a little bit of it, and Middleborough has most of it. But the 3 electric companies could be identified on this map also. And we have 2, I believe, only 1 gas company, but just in case somewhere on one of these streets there might be a Middleborough gas line. Middleborough, by the way, is no longer hooking up new gas customers as of the last bill they sent out.
Interesting.
Okay.
So
moving-
5.1
Yep.
and 5.1A, which will be the service areas.
Would the water pipes
I don't
and,
think-
just more of a question, would the water pipes and utilities and gas be a separate utilities map? Or, okay,
Yeah.
I don't know if you were,
I don't think Doug has the most recent one. I've got the Taunton water line map. Because we added Taunton water on Bridge Street. We've extended the water line for Taunton. I don't think Doug's got
I don't
that.
have that.
Yeah.
The,
Just a side note.
that's a good point.
Okay.
That's a good point. And how about the other? It was also extended on Water Street, wasn't it?
That tied in, yeah.
That-
LeBaron, I don't think he's got,
Oh, LeBaron, yeah, that's
Yeah.
an old tie-in. Yeah, and that was where, where he had recommended that we put, fire protection lines down the streets, and they didn't.
Blueberry Estates is hooking up as we speak.
Where?
Going in through Woods Edge. Because the water line
You shouldn't.
goes into Woods Edge.
You shouldn't do that.
Well, they did.
It's a bad idea.
Why?
Because all the people that lived on Main Street have been shortcut.
But,
You have to overland lines are.
no, Taunton approved it.
Well, they don't care. That's good city planning if you stay with the lines and pick up all the other customers. And it's poor city planning by.
But what's the difference if they keep running down Main Street?
They
can
didn't run
continue-
down Main
But they
Street.
can continue and go off Hills Avenue, Pond Acres. This is the same idea.
Because they could have gotten a big customer to pay for part of that line. You want to get as many people paying for it as.
Well, I don't
You
think
just-
that's happening anytime soon, but. Anyways, let's keep going.
Yeah, let's move forward.
Yep.
In the interest of time. So next map. Groundwater resources.
That's important, right? I don't think it's, there's a bunch of verbiage in here that ties with this, and it needs a map along with it. This shows that there's some of the changes. Now I don't know who can make the changes on this map. Because someone must have kept up with where our major producing wells are, or the larger wells are. Whoever let Blueberry Estates tie in overland, if they're so smart, let them do it.
Can we find out who's responsible or who has the ability to update that map? Is that possible?
Well, where's the information
It
come
takes me
from?
like 15
Yeah.
minutes to get over a shock like that.
Where's the information come from?
I'll have to ask Chad.
You have to remember where, which wells have been discontinued
Right.
and which new wells have been advanced. They've done a bunch. The biggest place that they're working is in they put a new well in, didn't they? Or two wells
Where?
to supply.
Clark Shores.
Clark Shores.
Yeah.
The Clark Shores Association has, so they'll have a different circle like this and a zone around it, but it'll be up here somewhere and it'll be bigger because it's a bigger well.
Okay.
Well, just looking at Marion's, they have a separate one for water line, separate one for sewer,
Okay.
and then public facilities. So I guess all of these major roadways. So
Yeah.
I guess I'm just saying, yeah, how many maps do we really need? But
Yeah, we haven't had
I
any.
don't think we need 13,
well, as we start going through
but
them,
let's find out if we do need 13.
Yeah.
Maybe we do.
they have a lot on climate change. I know Marion's really big on climate change.
Well, it's coastal too,
Yeah,
so
habitat areas we should have.
Yeah.
that's gonna,
Water resource. So it seems like
Depends how
that
close
these are
you
the
are to
maps
the
that you
water.
typically have in a master plan.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway,
groundwater.
this information is not available anyplace else in the world except in this document. So I would hate to see this, but it needs update.
Yep. So again, we're just gonna go through all 13 and pare it down if we need to. You know,
Does
what? Maybe
anybody?
we
Does
don't need
anybody?
to pare it down.
Does anyone keep track of what they're doing at Clark Shores? Do they write anything down? Do they have maps and stuff like that?
I don't know.
Votes?
They've been talking to Board of Health, but that's all done through the federal grant, I believe.
Yeah,
They
it's
have a
not done
federal
through.
grant.
It's not done through us,
No.
which is
All right, next map.
five two. Okay.
You may want to move that mic down a little bit because I'm sure for the folks at home, that's just that paper's going to be driving them wild.
And we got to do habitats.
Okay, now let's move this toward you. Because the next ones are.
Okay, so this one's habitats and ecosystems.
Again, an important map.
yeah.
Yeah. We may find that all of them are.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know if it.
Yes,
if it
we
changed or
remember
not.
we had the high priority.
Yeah.
We went through that whole process.
Yeah.
I don't know how many years ago now, but there's definitely, now they're called priority habitats and priority, I just read it in this one. Yeah, that was a year-long.
Okay, yeah, this is
All right, next map.
this. Yeah, this will be a.
Okay.
Open space.
But as you know, as open space, it's not really an open space. It just shows what's protected and how it's protected. But the chapter land is there, and some private land that's also unprotected, but not through a chapter. So it's important that we see how many of the purple ones that are some sort of chapter land. It's a pretty important map that way.
No, it's definitely important to have, and you definitely have had changes since
Yes.
2004. So
And how do we figure out what the changes are in
And
the
I
last
think
15
Serpent's,
years?
Especially,
Who
I'm looking
keeps
at
track of-
this.
Yeah.
It is protected now, state protected.
Oh, this one. Oh, yeah, that
Yeah.
one changed, definitely.
Yeah.
you've lost a few,
Definitely.
so.
Yeah, the state bought that.
And I'm sure
But that's-
some of it's come out of chapter too, like Crooked Lane.
Yep. Let's see. Where is
Over
Crooked?
here,
Okay.
roughly.
Right? Okay, yes, this one.
So we can have,
This actually,
Or
it looks like from this that it wasn't from this map. Not Crooked Lane a year ago, coming out of chapter land, didn't have to. It doesn't look like that was chapter land. The industrial part of it, underneath the solar. Which is
I don't
possible.
understand.
One of the ones, the lot that's right on the corner of Crooked Lane
That's
And-
not in chapter.
It was never,
No.
never, ever under
No.
chapter. And that was a misconception that some people,
I always thought it
Yeah.
was, I assumed it was.
right?
Because people would call to complain about all the vehicles, saying, well, that's agriculture, we can't do anything.
Yeah,
And then
it was friggin',
so we'll ask Jed about that.
Yep.
in
Okay.
fact, ooh,
All right. Moving forward. All right. Next map, please.
so anyway, no, this one we don't, this one just has to be updated.
Right.
But
Right.
how are we gonna, we gotta get 15 years worth of revisions to that. What people
Well,
are
what
gonna
we did
do
pick
that?
up
I
at the-
volunteered to do 2 of them earlier. I can't, that's as far as
What
I
we
can go.
found at the public workshop, remember?
Yeah.
Joan Morton, she found that her mother's property wasn't highlighted. So
Right.
Jed worked on updating that on our
Right,
maps.
Right,
Yep.
Okay?
right. So that's gonna take some attention. It might take 6 months worth of attention.
Well, I would
before
say,
it's ready
in the
for-
interest of time,
Yeah.
if we keep discussing each
Yeah.
one, we're going to be here till midnight.
That's,
So
Let's move forward.
well, let's
Yeah,
get it done, you know?
I don't want to be.
Fix one,
Let-
open
what
space.
I would
Open
say
space.
is, let's go through the maps, let's figure out what we need, right? And then we can discuss
Okay.
the updates, like, either at the end of the meeting, or we can table it
Yes,
and do maybe an inquiry afterwards, okay? All right, so the next map for the folks at home is resource areas.
and
This is showing resources.
I don't know what that means.
I don't either.
Good.
okay.
Let's figure out what that means, and then maybe we'll use it, maybe we won't.
This is one that I,
Okay, the
That I
development of
suspected
land,
might
first
not make it
information
to
on
the last
existing, okay, hold on. First information on existing development patterns and land characteristics, as well as public input, were synthesized into the land suitability map 11.2. This map, along with figure 11.1, resource areas map, illustrates those sections of the town that are capable of supporting new development and redevelopment, as well as those areas that are already developed, unbuildable, or less suitable for new development based on the number of underlying resources.
Should already have a
Wouldn't-
a developmental problem.
Wouldn't that be in the zoning?
Yeah,
or-
for both, but
Yeah.
land that's developable, but 11.2 is what?
11.2 is land
Yeah.
suitability
Suitability,
map.
yeah, these are,
So
this is very soft, and this is by Jed. Now, if Jed is going to be going into that sort of a study, they might be useful to him,
suitability
but
mean?
it's not,
suitable for development,
suitable,
not
yeah.
suitable for development. So number of resources, so your resources, the darker the color, the more resources. Lighter the color, the less resources.
yeah, but
So I'm not
from my
sure
point of view, the darker the color, the less likely they are to be built
to
on.
be built, yeah, and maybe
So
that's.
what does that mean?
So I would say, let's figure, now, we don't have to figure it out right now, but
No,
let's figure it out. But what it sounds like to me as a layperson is that at least the map that's for the land that can be developed is maybe a combination of those two. I'm not, or similar to that.
We already have one, don't we?
Yeah,
It
developable.
says developable land. So why do we need this if you got the other one?
It you'd have to read the whole thing, if it's important to the
Best
guy
use
that's
of the
writing
land.
Well,
that.
then the guy writing it gotta say, I need something like that.
Yes,
Right.
that's why I'm writing here, Jed.
Right?
The Jed would have to say on this.
Yep, all right.
That's so far 3
Yeah.
pages.
So this also
There is
ties
action.
in, it looks to 11.3, which is the land use guide plan.
And that, I hope we never have to send something like that out to the public.
Good.
I
Just
look at the
eliminate
paragraphs
free maps.
next to it.
Create
That's
a
not
rural
the-
recreation district,
Yeah.
consider transfer
You
development.
just don't need those.
I
because
know.
I'm sure, but before we say no, I would just like, could we get Jed's
Yes,
just thoughts on these?
Absolutely.
Just-
Yeah.
Okay,
As
now
the
that one,
expert.
11.3, okay.
Because I think we have more
11.3
questions.
11, 1, 2,
Yeah.
and 3.
Yeah, a
1, 2,
question.
and 3.
Yeah.
Is it something that could be combined into one map?
That last one, this,
Yeah, I agree. This is
usable.
this is a lot.
any map
Yeah.
that has 1,500 words next to it, it shouldn't be a map.
If it's usable,
You know what, this
useful to
one-
the words we're putting.
And
in
this is the
use.
one that's got over 55
This looks like
housing
the
all over the
zoning.
place.
Yeah.
Senior village overlay. That's the purple lines.
Yeah.
So it's everywhere.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's,
So that,
Yeah.
Over 55, you live everywhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
You got a zoning map, and a developable map.
okay, there's only one tag left there.
Very good. That's what I like to see.
Some decisions are easy to make.
That is a true story. Final
Housing
map is housing suitability action map.
that's very similar.
It sure
There's the
is.
senior housing again.
Right.
I don't know, 1,500 words, no big deal. Okay.
Well, they may be, I don't disagree with the number of words there, but they may be something that, a different way of developing or something if they are.
Well, we
Agreed.
talked
Just like-
about 40 Rs,
Yeah.
where to put incentive zoning,
Yeah.
And we'll have-
accessory apartments.
This is the chapter also that's describing, in a nutshell, the future use of Lakeville too. So that's, I think, why you're seeing everything with the map is to go along with the text as far as what the master plan group
Yeah.
community was looking as far as the next years for development.
Yeah, suitable for commuter housing.
Okay, so we're.
And I think
This would be at 6, we have 6 maps to do,
yeah,
plus 5 of them for Jed to look through.
right.
That's it.
You know, that last map, and it talked about what can be developed, if that information could be combined with what can be developed. Okay, this is what can be developed, this is what can go where it can be developed.
Yeah, well, and some of it too,
You
when
know.
you see all the detail, although I agree with Zink, that's a lot of detail on there, but
Yeah,
even looking at the map where they all are pretty much combined together, you certainly may not be able to get it all on
yep,
one map either.
true story.
It almost looks like it's just sort of mapping out where we see Lakeville 15 years from this
Yep.
master plan. And that actually is not necessarily a bad thing to do
Yeah, agreed.
because I think people are more visual than reading through,
Yeah, they are.
so.
And if you can have that impact with that you know, that visual cue and then grab their attention and have read a little bit about what's there,
Yeah.
I think that's going to be a huge help. Okay, fantastic.
Okay,
All right, so
so the easy, this isn't so bad,
yep,
but we will have to,
reach out to Jed and see.
and reach out to the folks running water pipes
Yep.
in Clark Shores.
Yep. All right, so next on the agenda, we discussed additional drone flights. We have a little bit of money left. He says, so far, the locations for the additional drone flights include the state hospital site from Route 79 side, the new police station, Route 44, Wilkie Farm, and Island Terrace. Serped will plan to fly all of the sites in one day once the police station is completed, so there's time to add sites if we so choose. So do we agree with the 5 so far that was mentioned during the last meeting and then in Jed's update?
One of the 5.
One more time. State hospital site from the Route 79 side.
See, I wrote that. I'm not sure why that's important.
It was from the backside,
I
right?
understand.
Yeah. The new police.
That's where the development now is.
Yeah, I
going
don't
to
remember the
occur.
conversation.
It's going to
about
be
that.
developed.
Oh, I know it.
Yeah. So the state hospital site from Route 79 side, the new police station, Route 44,
The industrial park.
yeah, the industrial park, Wilkie Farm, and Island Terrace. That's what he mentioned.
I'm not that familiar with Wilkie Farm, so I can't comment.
You know where that is?
No?
When you go down Bedford Street, farmland on both sides of you, goes over to 105. All that,
What's
It's
now the
under-
Elliott Farm, right?
right. And then I don't believe the farmhouse or the land on that side of 105, but all that farmland, when you go down 105 or 18, that was the first APR in the state. He sold his development rights to the state.
Okay.
I forget how many acres it is.
I just don't know anything about it, so that's fine.
Yep. Okay. So do you want to have any discussion about the additional, the locations, or just,
It seemed fine to me.
okay?
What year was that? What year was that when, do you think? Or just roughly? within
60s
5
maybe?
years? Really? That early?
Yeah. And then the Roach Farm on Highland Road,
Yeah.
Lydia did that later on. I'm just guessing, but
And some of that was developed much later. Is there any more of it, do you think? The Roach Farm? Or is that,
oh, I don't know.
that's fixed forever?
Yeah.
I was just,
Okay, all set?
yes,
Okay.
thank you.
Yep. Final item for Jed was calendar of events. The next event is the public workshop in June 1st. Following that would be another table event to publicize the open house event in October, and that,
And that he's going to do that at the Arts and Music Festival, I
Yep.
believe, right?
yes,
Yeah, so-
And that's why we were waiting, I think, until October to do it.
yeah. So we have a few opportunities to get the word out in these big events. I think if we're, consistent and persistent with the message and just keep, beating the drum, hopefully we'll get enough interest in the events, and then have a great October event. So, all right, cool. Very good. All right, so moving forward, agenda item 2, approve meeting minutes for March 26th and April 30th. Do we have a motion?
I will make a motion for the March 26th.
Okay,
Second.
motion to approve.
Aye.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Okay. Motion passes unanimously. And do we have a motion, is that for both of them or just
No,
for the
I wasn't there
26th?
for April 30th. so-
Okay.
I'll
So-
move to accept the minutes for April 30th meeting. I was here.
Okay,
I'll
I'll
second.
second.
okay, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay,
One
Abstaining,
abstention.
Yeah.
one abstention. Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, you ended up having to work
Yeah,
that
Yes,
night.
he did.
that was fun.
All right, schedule the next meeting is the next agenda item.
I meant to bring one.
Okay. So we'll wait for Rita to grab some information. Packed a lot into the
Tax
meeting today.
benefits.
That's good.
Tax benefits for to communities for large-scale solar array facilities.
Yeah.
I don't remember that. I thought I knew. That always perks my ears up,
Will Jed need time to put together his draft report if the workshop's on the 1st?
If we have another meeting in June, you mean?
Right.
So then I would say he would need some additional time. What does everyone think?
I would think so. About the 18th, the Tuesday.
Does the 18th sound okay for everyone?
And I can reach out to Jed to see if that's too soon.
Yeah, and if it is, we can reschedule. So why don't we go ahead and lock it down for the 18th? Okay, and it'll be here. Sounds good to me. Okay. All right, any other business that may properly come before the meeting? Hearing none?
So moved.
Okay, movement to adjourn.
Second?
Second, okay, all in favor, aye? Aye. All right, thanks for a great meeting.